In this video, I'm going to show you how to do advanced AMFPHP debugging with PlugrMan. What I mean by advanced AMFPHP debugging is debugging of AMFPHP APIs that require you to send strong typed objects to the method calls. To get started with this, you'll need to log into the beta website for PlugrMan at pluggerman.com, and in the My Account section download the pluggerman.zip. I've already downloaded pluggerman.zip and I've unpacked it to this pluggerman folder. Inside of it there's some files that we'll need throughout the setup process that I'll show you right now. And the first thing that I want to show you is the setup. The first thing that I want to show you is the setup for the VO classes that are going to be sent from PHP to ActionScript and from ActionScript back to PHP. I've already set up this uservo.php class, which is a really simple class that has 3 properties and this underscore explicit type property, which is a key property for the class mapping that happens between ActionScript and PHP. This underscore explicit type is what is used in the class mapping to be able to match to an ActionScript class that has a remote class alias defined for it. So make sure that you set this underscore explicit type variable to something that matches on the ActionScript side. So let me show you the ActionScript version of this same class, and here you'll see that the same properties are declared so that the class mapping happens from the ActionScript and PHP side smoothly. But there's also this remote class meta tag above the class declaration. This remote class alias is the string which must match with the PHP underscore explicit type property so that the class mapping happens without a hitch. I've already uploaded this uservo.php file to my server. What I do want to show you though is in the globals.php file that is inside of the AMFPHP folder that you unzip, there are some default settings, and the default setting for the VO path is services/VO. And what this VO path is this is where AMFPHP will look for PHP classes to map AS3 objects that it receives. So you want to make sure that inside of your server, in your services folder, you're going to have to create this VO folder and place your VO classes inside of it if you use the default setup. This VO folder is not there when you unzip AMFPHP from the download on the AMFPHP website. So make sure that if you're going to be doing this class mapping that you create this folder. So that's all it takes to set up the class mapping. And so now I'm going to open the My API class, and I'm going to make a quick edit to it to add a function that requires a strong typed argument. So I'm going to make this function called login, and I've already at the top added a require to bring in the user VO, and I'm going to add a variable called a user, which is of type user VO. And inside of here, what I'm going to do is I am going to create a new user VO, and I'm going to transfer some of the variables that I received. And I'll add to it something so we know that it was edited from the PHP side. And finally, I'm just going to return this object. Like this by itself, the function will work and PlugrMan will read it, but PlugrMan will not pick up on strong type on the strong type of the arguments that are inside of the function. In order for you to trigger that, you must add a PHP doc and add a param tag for your new parameter. And I'll put a simple description. Once you have your param tag in there, now you're ready to debug this as a strong type API. So I'm going to go ahead now and open PlugrMan. However, before we set up the bookmark for strong typing, there is there's two more things that I need to go over. First, in the AMFPHP installation, there are two files that you need to modify in order for the AMFPHP service browser support classes to provide the strong type information. So if I go back to the PlugrMan download, inside of the PHP folder, there's an AMFPHP folder with an AMFPHP_mods folder inside of it. In here, there are two classes that need to be updated in order for the AMFPHP the support classes to give PlugrMan the strong type information for us to be able to debug. So in here, I've placed them in the same folders that you'll find them inside of the AMFPHP folder. And I've already gone ahead and updated those. So I've updated the discovery service, and in core shared util, I've updated the method table.php. Once that's updated, the AMFPHP installation is ready to provide the strong typed information. So in PlugrMan needs to be able to have the classes that you want to test with and send over to your API. And in order to do that, there is inside of the PlugrMan folder an SWC file which contains an interface that you need to create an SWF file with that has the VO classes that you want to test with. I've set up this basic ActionScript project that has this class called strong type library that implements the interface iRemote class library. This interface requires you to implement this remote classes getter, which returns a vector of class objects to PlugrMan so that PlugrMan can use these VOs and debug your API with them. Once you've set up this Swift file, now you're ready to debug with PlugrMan. I've already compiled this, and so I'm going to open up PlugrMan, and I'm going to use the same bookmark that we used in the basic AMFPHP debugging video, and I'm going to edit that bookmark, and I'm going to select Enable Strong Type Objects, and using the Browse button, I'm going to point it to the Swift file that I created using the interface from the PlugrMan.zip folder. I'm going to select the Swift file and click Edit, and now this bookmark is ready to connect. So I'm going to connect the bookmark, and when I select the My API class, we should now see 3 functions in here. And when I select the login function, which is the new function that I just created, we will see that it has a single argument of type userVO. Now I can open this up, and I'm going to set a value in here of 12 just for testing, and I'm going to set some name, and I'm not going to fill in the rest, but those are the 2 properties that I edited in the PHP class. And when I click the invoke service button, you'll see that it returns a userVO with the same values that I inputted and the from PHP strings that I attached to it, so that I can see that it was coming from PHP. You'll also see on this side that you can see the type of object that was returned from PHP, and if it was successfully mapped, you'll be able to see the type, and you'll be able to go through the properties that were also sent along with the rest of the stuff. So that's strong type debugging with AMFPHP and PlugrMan.